Welcome back to Gale Force Wins Season 3.
The Gale Force Wins podcast is proudly sponsored by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association. The NLCA provides unparalleled opportunities for its members through industry education, construction information, government advocacy, and networking events. The NLCA is building Newfoundland and Labrador. For more information, visit nlca.ca.
Man, the best memories of my life were as a startup when we were not sure if we could make payroll. Ironically, as I look back at it now, I look at the initials, what if, IF. And what if I didn't make that decision? And I always thought the question to ask someone is, what if you don't do this? What if? And Idea Factory was one of those what if moments. And when I started seeking the truth versus a sale, my life felt a lot better, and the fly in the wall, which would be my mom or dad, they would say, I like the fact that you walked out of the room or you walked away from that sale and you didn't leave your dignity on the table. You've got to actually admit when you're an entrepreneur what you're good at. And then you need to surround yourself with those people that are good at the things that you're not good at, but you need to admit that. And right now, I have no problem admitting what I'm good at, which is 2 or 3 things in life, and you can do well at that. So is it better to get a no on day 1 or day 189? I'm telling you, from a guy that got a lot on day 189, get the no fast. There's a lot of people out there that don't think it's their turn to do what Jerry's doing and what I did. I'm just telling you, it's always been your turn. It has always been your turn. So step out of line.
Be your spark and live it every day, full stop. Right? That'd be the first. Discover that spark. What is it that fills your cup?
They're lucky because they let themselves be lucky. The people you have on this show who say, yeah, I was really lucky. What they all universally share is an openness to say yes to things. Many years ago, a friend of mine founded the Yellow Shoes Club. And the Yellow Shoes Club stood for only one thing. Sure, why not? That's it. Sure, why not? You want to open a restaurant? Yeah, sure, why not? Like, I mean, you know, it's a bit overstating it, but that it's just be open. Like, just say yes to things. Just go, sure, yeah, why not?
The words that come to mind when I think about the thing, both what things look like done well and what things look like when they're not, when things do start to fall apart, have often to do with assessment, and alignment, right? Yep. So values would be one of those things. There's opportunities, and by the way, assessment and alignment over time, growth, and evolution.
Because I talk to everyone, because you never know where people can fit into your life. So that's another approach, talk to people, figure out where you can fit. If it doesn't make you happy, then get rid of it. And if it brings you joy and happiness, then that's your fuel with everything. Don't overthink too much, and you're going to be fine.
If you have an idea for something, to take a calculated risk. It's, take the risk. And if you're not going to take a chance on doing something, if you want to do something, then don't find yourself when you're 80 years old saying, I wish I had, or I wonder if I had. Because if you try and it doesn't work out, so what?
The first is, I'm going to use a Stephen Covey quote that is a good one that resonates, that says, I'm not a product of my circumstances, I'm a product of my decisions. And I think the decisions that each of us make, and in my case, in that summer, to have decided to join the Naval Reserve, that was an incredible decision and a life changer. I think the other is to don't sell yourself short and underestimate yourself in anything that you do. I speak about silent mentoring and the power that people have just by being who they are. And I think your success isn't only contingent on what you what you achieve, and it's not what you're known as, it's what you're known for. And you have an opportunity to always be mentoring and advising and guiding and leading people just by who you are.
You gotta work hard, and don't be afraid, to bounce back if things don't go your way. I mean, you got to be resilient and keep trying and just find something you love.
Every time something happens, I say, "There's no way this is taking me out." I said I was going to make a go of it here and be successful. So this isn't the day. Today is not the day. This is not.
It's so important to celebrate people. I think that's kind of my theme, or I'm choosing to make this my theme for this year and this stage of my career. It's all about celebrating the wins, celebrating the people and the successes, and taking that moment. Not everything is about the next hurdle. Sometimes you just got to stop and celebrate and enjoy the moment and drink the champagne.
When you have a belief as an entrepreneur, you kind of stick to that belief because hope is everything. And, it's the future ambition that will always fuel you.
If you have an idea or if you have that entrepreneurial bug and you think you'd like to start something, do it.
Try and learn something new from everyone you meet.
Don't be afraid to give something a shot, I would say. As I said, I had no right starting the business I did from background wise, but I was always looking for ideas. I always knew I wanted to try to see if I could make something work, succeed or fail. And I didn't want to ever have an excuse of it didn't work because, this outside thing that I couldn't control happened. If that happens, so be it. But if you put yourself in a position to try something and, there's 1,000 resources for 1,000 different things. Everyone's got the things that they're into. For me, it was about finding a business that fit. And without putting myself in a position to be able to take advantage of these things, I just gave it a shot. I had to take the leap. When you take the leap, you've either got to figure it out or you hit the ground. So when all this kind of stuff happens, it's a very good incentive to not fail.
The world needs more Jesse Stirling. So thank you very much.
You're too kind. When I think of my heaven, I think about just jumping on a trampoline with my little girl, 4 years old, Olivia, or doing artwork. And we've used that word presence. And even a 4-year-old knows if you're looking at your phone on the side, if you'd rather be somewhere else. Our society values multitasking so much. It's kind of don't just sit there, do something. And I'm challenging your listeners to don't just do something, sit there. Just try to sit there like I gave a TED Talk, 2 eyelids, 2 lungs, 2 minutes. Breathe deep, close your eyes for 2 minutes. You are going to feel so great.
I probably just built off what I was just sharing with Jerry and yourself there about that personal development. Right? That's so important. I've seen in my career where it gets one of the first budget items that gets shaved when numbers start getting tight. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, we can't do that training. That stuff has to continue. Because if you keep empowering your team and your employees and your colleagues through that, then they'll keep bringing more to the table.
Yeah.
Right. To me, that's the advice: is keep that professional development going. And I know there's different models. You can be taught in-house with a mentor. Okay, great, but make sure it's a really good quality mentorship program. Not just something ad hoc on the back of a napkin. Keep developing your team, because your team they'll want to keep putting stuff back into the organization because you're putting stuff into them.
Right.
Right. To me, that would be my advice.
Jerry, your thoughts?
Missed me after all these years, didn't you?
Listen, you were always an impressive individual. You have certainly, your personal growth journey has been spectacular. I can just tell, Alan, you're so impressed with this conversation, so am I. I mean, it's one thing, Tom, to talk about your business journey. It's another thing to have that near-death experience and be in a coma for how many days again?
A month.
I can't even begin to express my thanks to you for telling us about this. Because when we talked, I wasn't sure if you wanted to go down that road, but I'm sure anyone watching this is very thankful that you're such a good communicator and you're willing to share that story, because frankly, this is an amazing experience to be sitting next to you, and just, I am so inspired to do better because of what you've been through, and I appreciate you for being here.
I appreciate those words, Jerry. We've been friends for a long time.
One last question.
Yes.
What was it like walking up on the stage with the Chieftains?
Well, I emceed the show, which was wonderful, and it was just, it was they're legends, right? They're absolute legends. But I will tell you that I'd seen them in rehearsal. I knew how good they were. They filled that stadium with nobody in it. Musically, like, it was just like if someone had come down from Mars and walked in there, they would have known these guys are good.
Right.
What a feeling to be there with the Chieftains and all of the Chieftains, right?
Right.
Who, again, we've lost some since, right?
That's a whole other episode.
That's why I left it like that, because I feel
we'll be
that
back.
is another episode.
If he's willing to sit with us.
Yeah, of course.
Well, another wonderful episode of Gale Force Wins on a journey from Ontario to Glasgow, through Newfoundland, working with some amazing Canadian companies, some amazing Atlantic Canadian companies as well, building ships for our country being a big part of that, and that's important to Jerry and I. And then down a journey into the healthcare field like I've never heard before, simply spectacular. I can tell you this with all honesty, the world needs more Tommy O for sure. Thanks very much for your time.
Alan, I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Tommy O, back on.
He said, you had 50-50 chance and you still took the shot for $50,000. I said, you ask, what's the difference between me and all the other CEO? Even if I would have 1% chance, I still would have took the shot. See, and then they were asking me a question, how did you manage to do it blindfolded? I said, I can teach you all how to do blindfolded stuff in 30 seconds. They said, what do you mean? I said, all right, here you guys all here. I said, how about close your eye? And everyone close their eye. I said, how about touch your nose? Everybody touch their nose. I said, open your eye. I said, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Because you believe you can do it. So the trick of the shot, you must believe. If you don't believe, if you hesitate, you will miss.
It's a pretty good lesson for life.
Absolutely. Anything you do in this life, you must believe you can do it.
About family, because it's, I remember commenting, my kids were in the audience, 3 daughters, Gina was there, and I did choke up when I said, love your family, but you learn from your family so much. They kept me humble. There's nothing, I mean, wrong, Dad. I hear it all the time, and it keeps me real.
Well, how my life has unfolded is I've known that about myself. I haven't, gone to a job that I wouldn't fit in and then been mad that I wasn't doing well at it. And, so really knowing yourself and knowing your path. And that means being honest that, maybe you're not going to be the next, $1 billion startup because you're not wired for that. And that is okay, not more than okay. That is how you will be your best self and have your best life, is if you know yourself. So I guess you can call that advice, but that's what I've learned, is that knowing yourself is important, and feeling you're the author of your own journey is really important. So that sense of it helps you develop self-efficacy and enough confidence to be able to swing your legs out over the bed in the morning and all that. So I think that's really important. And the other thing is, a bit of practical. So one of them is really kind of up there, and the other one is, really sort of practical. Show up, and I'm thinking about, young people who are just graduating. They've had a tough go for a few years with COVID and all that stuff, or who are just getting started in their careers, or kind of not as fully established, so they're still trying to find a path. And if you don't put yourself out in opportunity's way, you won't find it, right?
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Wins. That's Gale Force Wins, WINS.com.